You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Girls After Show.
Welcome, everyone. Super excited. Bing is for doing, and we are doing season 2, episode 8 of HBO's Girls. I'm Miriam Gonzalez, and here joining me is my roundtable crew to my right.
It's Thomas. What's going on, people? Yo, yo, yo. Across from me.
It's Spicy Marty, keeping it sizzling in here.
I'm just Andrew. I don't have a fancy intro.
It's hard to follow that, I would say.
You know, it really is, but we're so happy to have Andrew here guesting today. Kelly's out. We totally miss you, girl. But tonight's episode, whoa, it's back. And it started with so many different things, and let's just say these characters are going through some stuff. And Adam, we'll start with Adam tonight, is one of them who he wakes up, he is totally depressed, he's laying in bed. It's obvious he hasn't gotten up to refill his milk for quite some time. That he goes to take a drink and realizes it's probably curded or old or warm or gross or been out for 3 days.
Or not milk.
And he spits it out. And he's going through this depression. I mean, he's lost Hannah. He had the cops called on him a few episodes back. He's trying to reach out to Hannah. He calls her. She doesn't answer. So he finds himself at an AA meeting tonight. And you know, of course, I thought it was hilarious. The guy's only concern is bringing the cookies, and Adam just takes the initiative you go to AA for a reason, to spill your guts, not to talk about cookies, and he just takes the initiative to say, hi, my name is Adam, I'm an alcoholic, and here's my story. And then he starts going into what's going on with him and the fact that Hannah has... You know, he had this girl who was just a booty call, and he didn't like her. He didn't like her. She was just a piece of ass, and she started to come around more, and he kind of liked it. And then what did he say? He's like, he started to teach her stuff.
Yeah, Adam realized he always wanted to show someone different things in life or teach him things like you had mentioned, and then he realized this may be it, but he's not 100% sure. And now, and then she dumped him. She called the cops on him, and now he doesn't know what to do. And he's feeling. He realized he was an alcoholic. I think when he was 18. Was that
17.
When he was 17, before 18.
And he wanted to fix the problem before it got worse at 17.
And now he's feeling weak again, and that's why he was there. And it stopped, and it got kind of awkward, and everyone just kind of stared. And
no, but you know what? Because they're all in that room because they can relate to one another in one way, and. My favorite part is when he started saying the things that he taught her to do, like, you know, where Central Park starts and how to use
Soap.
A bar of soap. I mean, we all kind of wondered about that with the cupcakes in the bathtub.
I have
and the
had
snot
to teach
rocket.
someone how to use shower gel and loofah before.
What?
Well, that's
shower gel and
different.
loofah.
That's different. That's a little bit of an art.
Don't you just gel up?
Squirt and go.
Yeah.
No, but I had to conform them from bar soap, which is less sanitary, to shower gel and loofah.
Which actually statistically not true, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. It's soap. It constantly cleans itself.
And then on and up note.
Welcome to the Soap Podcast. I'm
Our soapbox.
So anyhow, the thing is that Adam goes, and he winds up meeting in this meeting, what was her name? Cloris, who was played by Carol Kane.
Who, by the way, I don't know if anybody here has seen the movie 8 Crazy Nights, but she sounds exactly like the old lady from that, and it was just bugging me the entire time.
Really?
It's just like this old, perfect Jewish lady. It made me so happy on a deep level.
Well, and Cloris was like really aggressive when she walked up to Adam after the meeting. They're in the hallway standing there. And, you know, she tells Adam, how did she compliment him? She's like, wow, you're really refreshing. You're very handsome.
She liked his brashness, the fact that he was
there you
just
go.
out.
That
there
it was
with all
honest.
the-
He was
yeah.
honest about who he was, his situation, and he wasn't afraid to say anything about it. So she felt very compelled to go up to him. And I like, what did she say? You're 6'3", that's a respectable height.
And then he's like, I enjoy it. I enjoy being this tall. She's like, great, are you single? And he's like, I guess. Would you want to meet my daughter? You know, she's always working. She never has time. She doesn't like dating. You seem like a great guy for her.
Well, she doesn't even, Cloris doesn't even want to really set her daughter up. I mean, what mother in her right mind wants to? That's my baby. You shouldn't be dating.
Let alone with an alcoholic, though. Mind you, you're hooking your daughter up with someone who's at your AA meeting.
But she's also an
well,
alcoholic,
yeah,
so I
so
mean, she's not judging.
Yeah, she's an alcoholic, but he's also admitted, he's got to be in his early 20s, that he's been sober a really long time. And instead of, he's not the guy that relapses, he's the guy that goes and says, you know what? All right, before I relapse or before I make myself crazy, let me go take care of me. So he showed that he's responsible in that way. And so she was attracted to that, which made it easy for her to say, you know what, let me set you up with my daughter. One, if you go out, I can trust you won't drink and drive.
Oh, very true.
Well, and on a side note, I mean, it sounds dumb, but the cookies, like he even said, he's like, fine, I'll bring the cookies. No one else is stepping up. I know that sounds dumb, but if you think about it, like it shows that...
Initiative.
Yeah, it shows initiative, and it shows like he's a giving person. Like he'll reach out to like fix a problem, which, could be endearing to a parent. I could see that.
Absolutely.
I thought though, I thought she was going to hit on him, actually, is what I kind of thought it was. I thought she was going to. I was shocked when she had mentioned her daughter.
Oh, no.
She was
too
eyeballing it
awkward.
a lot.
She was too awkward. But I like how, he went and got home, which finally, with all the weeks that he's been building, God knows what, we see it's some sort of ladder.
Yeah,
That
his
apartment is ratchet.
Yeah.
It's ratchet.
That is a ratchet apartment.
His apartment looks like a Saw warehouse from the movie Saw. Like, it's like he's heading that way.
The
I
thing
think.
that he built, I mean, he said in the last season that he wanted to build a boat. It seems like it's starting to come together. And while he's climbing his ladder type boat made out of wood, he goes and takes the initiative and calls Natalia.
Now, the phone call didn't go as planned. Now, have you guys ever called anyone and that phone call not go as planned, like when you're reaching out for a date, or maybe it's just a guy thing when we do that?
No, I think it happens. Well, as a girl, I'm a very forward chick, so I've made the phone call. You get nervous, you start stumbling over your words, you say things, you're like, why did I say that? Which is funny because he says, I'm the tall guy, you'll see who I am. I hear you have nice teeth, and I'll be staring at
creepy.
you.
Yeah.
Like a creep.
Yeah.
Like he knows he's creepy and he admits it. And of course he's beating himself up afterwards for admitting it. He's like, why did I say that? In his own little quirky way.
It's interesting to hear him also, like, him be that introspective. Like, we all, I've made the joke in the past that it's like, he is a serial killer. I made it like 5 seconds ago. But it's just interesting that even he's just like, wow, that makes me sound like a serial killer. I'm going to be looking at your teeth. That's creepy. So it's interesting to see this character who seems to have no, like, processing sometime of how weird he is, be like, oh, that was weird.
And a good example of that is when he was in the restaurant, and it was funny when you said during the viewing that, he goes and he takes the napkin with his teeth and he swings it like a boat, which I thought was really endearing. I love that about him.
He wants to do.
He's raw. He's very raw.
Yeah, he just does whatever he's thinking. But the thing with the phone call, which I think is really adorable, is that he reached out and it was also showing Adam's point of vulnerability right now. Because before this was a guy who wasn't returning phone calls, who was only having booty calls, who didn't have any emotions or feelings. Now he's being set up, mind you, on a blind date, and he's taking the initiative and trying to reach out. He's like yearning for companionship.
Well, because he's reached out and showed his emotions, and Hannah stepped on him, and no one wants to. People try to help him, but they're not helping him the way he needs to be helped, and so that's why. What did you think of the date when Natalia walked in? I thought she was stunning.
I loved both of their reactions. He was like, "Holy shit," and she's like, "I love my mom." Like,
and that was so cute. The honesty.
They were honestly attracted to each other at first glance. I wouldn't say love at first sight, but at first glance they were attracted to one another, and they portrayed that first blind date to a T. The awkwardness, but I like the fact that they broke the silence of it. They're like, you know what? We hate first dates. They're always awkward. You're forced to talk to somebody that you don't really know.
To act like casual with someone who you've never met, who in that case, literally, they were set up by this girl's mother, neither of them had any clue. And yeah, it is interesting that it became that casual about the element of not being casual.
Well, it becomes so awkward that you have no choice but to address the elephant in the room. And so for him to just say, you know what, here I am, I'm sweating bullets, I liked that. I liked the honesty. not every situation has that type of honesty to it.
Well, and she liked that. I mean, he even made the joke. He's like, I've had to pee the last 30 minutes, and she had the bedroom eyes. Like that's what I mentioned to you, Spicy. Like the bedroom. I'm not. We don't have, but like to get into that.
Thomas, give me bedroom eyes now.
So Thomas showed me the bedroom eyes are like a little like glance up and
It's
down.
just like a very
almost like I'm
intense
undressing you with my eyes.
Well, I
I'd like
think
you
that there
to
was
undress me, pretty much.
there was a lot of interaction between the two of them that was very attractive for that to happen. The fact that she said she worked for a PI and that she gets to be the decoy sometimes, which is kind of messed up because that means that her guy that she works for is setting the client's husbands up. But he dug that. He was like, wow, that's really hot. And so their interaction became it was a good foreplay of conversation between the two of them for them to get to that point. And so I really, really liked that they made it easy to talk to. They were easy. They talked to each other easily, and that was nice.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Like I really hope the relationship gets to progress. I really hope the next episode we get to see more about it.
In the oh god, I'm like blanking right now.
In the restaurant or
No, at the end of the show. in the previews. I'm special.
Well, like
In the previews, they show that there's an interaction between them where they possibly could be doing the damn thing.
Well, it looked. I mean, those bedroom eyes. Look, she was undressing him. I mean, she loved everything about him, and
she
he
says
loved
in the
everything
next
about
episode
her.
she's going to sleep with him. She wants to sleep with him.
What you know?
I didn't get to see the previews.
The previews are good.
Oh man.
I mean, and then you contrast that to like Marnie and Charlie and how theirs is like kind of fizzled, and Shoshanna and Ray were hanging out with Marnie, and Shoshanna just she tends to have diarrhea of the mouth.
She doesn't think.
And she just spills like Charlie's did very well. He's reached he sold this and that. He's made a lot of money, and she's like, and Marnie's like, oh, I shouldn't have dumped him.
It's the moment where you find out that your ex is doing really, really well,
Better than you
and
are.
you didn't expect it to. And she finds out that he created this iPhone or smartphone
This app,
application, which we find out she is the reason why he created it.
By the way,
Smart.
that is a great app. I have at least a couple friends on the top of my head right now who I think you could use the crap out of that. Because like, if it's financially screwing you, if you call your ex or somebody who's abusive in your life, that would just motivate them so well. So please, someone get on this.
It probably exists
It probably
already.
is a real app.
No, it's super smart. And then, what did you think? Like, so you could see Marnie's reaction, typical Marnie reaction. She wasn't really hurt, but it seemed like what? Like I left. Like it seems like she's one of those status clingers. Like she wants to rise up, but she can't do it on her own. So she's gonna find someone. In her case, it's gonna be a man.
No,
Yeah.
I think in this situation, she let him go too soon, and she's rethinking. She's second guessing her choice of the breakup because when they broke up, he was more of the clingy guy that wasn't really doing much. He was singing in clubs with Ray, and now all of a sudden he's taking the initiative after the breakup to become the successful man, and that to her is attractive. She likes a successful, powerful person. So now all of a sudden he's shiny again, which is what motivates her to go to his office and check it out. And as she sees him in the office, like, wow, this is all fancy, and look at the giant flower, arrangement on the receptionist's desk, and she starts to follow him through the office to see that he's really got some stuff in control. He wasn't a guy in control before,
Correct.
and now he is.
Right.
Well,
That's
and the
absolutely
office
right.
I thought it was hilarious because it was very startup-y. Like if you've ever watched any show that involves a startup, I think Bravo has a show about it. But like it was just that stereotype of a startup company. It just kind of cracked me up. Though everyone was walking around very casual.
Right.
And then, but what's really interesting was Marnie was out of place, and reception tried to stop her from stalking him. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, like, where are you
very
going?
Basically, just like,
But
do you have a meeting?
Did you feel his energy though? He was acting as if he was very annoyed.
Of course he
and
was.
like what
Right.
obviously you want something, so you need support or you want to like
He was in
something
work
about
mode.
support that he.
Yeah.
What was the comment that he made
He
about
said,
support?
"Are you here?" She's like, "I'm here to support you." He's like, "Are you here to support from me or support for me?"
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of already a red flag to him. Like he knew, and there's like a little bit of confidence that comes with that when you know you're doing better than your ex, and they pop back up, and you get to remind them and kind of throw it in their face. That's why he was so nonchalant when it came time to make his little music video, and he just dipped out on her.
Their version of the Dougie Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, going back to just Marnie's whole "how is he moving on" thing, she even mentions that what was it? I had budgeted 6 months for him to be broken up or something. It's like, and you can tell that
6 years.
6 years. But yeah, that's insane, first of all. But also, it's like, that is a status thing for her. Like, she is this power thing in her mind. It's like, oh, he can't be over me. I mean, I think some of us probably have had that moment where we break up with a person, we assume we'll move on before they do, and then when they do, we're like, well, how dare they have a boyfriend before I do? And with her, it's just like, wait, he's moving on, he's doing great.
But he did
how
immediately
freaking dare he?
get a girlfriend. He immediately got a girlfriend, but the thing was that he wasn't really in love with the girlfriend, so she knew she still had the power. It wasn't until he had the career success, which I don't think that she still wants him emotionally or mentally. I think that he's just reminding her what she's not, and she's a little bit jealous of his success.
She wants to rise up. Like, she's a status climber. I mean, that's how I look at her a lot of ways. I feel like she, like Booth, the same thing. It's clinging onto a life that she can't have right now because she desperately wants, because like she says, I have everything together. No one else does. I have it together, and I'm the one that keeps getting left behind.
The funny thing is when she goes to Ray for advice.
You're going to Ray first off.
No. She goes, yeah.
Well, because Shoshanna was occupied.
When you're going to Ray for advice. Yeah, that sounds really bad.
He's honest.
She goes to Ray, she gets home, and Ray's the only one around. And he knows Charlie. So she just starts spilling her guts, and that's where she admits the 6-year thing, and that, you see her comparing herself, and that's the worst thing anyone can do, is compare yourself to others, because all that winds up doing is holding you back. And Ray calls her out on it. He's like, you know what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And she's like, I want to sing. What's the second thing you want to do? And she's like, no, I really want to sing. And the girl can.
Well, because think about it. Ray works at a coffee shop. Ray sees all these little prima donnas come in. They want to sing. They want to do this. They want to read poetry. They want to write. And they can't do crap. And so he's like, no, what else? Like, let's be real. I'm in my 30s. And then when she belts out those lines, like, I was stunned. I was like, wow, she can really sing.
Yeah. Allison Williams.
Impressed. Yeah, I was impressed because I didn't expect that. The only thing, and I hate to be the dream crusher, is that you want to be a singer. Like, I'm sorry.
I know.
I was expecting going back to school and maybe starting her own art gallery, but something.
Well, that's what he was trying to do.
Exhibit. Yeah, I was thinking maybe like she was going to say, she wanted to have her own exhibit.
But the thing is,
you want to sing? You want to put an album out?
You can be successful as a singer. Not everyone has to be Britney Spears. Not everyone has to be India Arie or Jill Scott. She could easily go and make a living of singing in nightclubs, or singing at birthday parties, or whatever. Start her own little girl band.
Marnie singing at birthday parties.
Dressed up like a clown's assistant. What did he describe her?
Magician's assistant. But you know what? That's the type of club. Instead of being the hostess at the club, she could be the girl that's singing the sultry music at the club.
That'd be a good AfterBuzz prediction.
And so she has options. And why not follow your dream? Why limit yourself? And I like that he says, he's like, become an explorer. Explore, take the adventure.
Stop being a cartographer, become the explorer.
Exactly. Being a singer is such a non-concrete or secure career, and so that to me that didn't match Marnie. That's why I was so surprised. It's a very hard dream to achieve because it's not guaranteed to you. No matter how much you go, you can't be educated for it and just make it based on your talent. It's based on luck.
You know what though? That is the nature of the beast in any form of the entertainment industry. Whether you are a singer, whether you are an artist, whether you are a broadcaster, whether you are an engineer, whether you're a producer.
Amen to that.
There's no. Never get comfortable because there's always going to be change. And I like how they portray that. I mean, what do you guys think? Go to iTunes, download us, rate us, comment, give us 5 stars. We want to know what you think. I mean, there's a struggle that comes with this. And tell your friends about iTunes. And we have lots of shows here on AfterBuzz TV that you can download and listen to. I know there's Happy Endings, and then there's Spartacus.
Shout out to Spartacus.
And Thomas, what are you working on now?
Just these two right now, waiting for Eastbound and Down.
Walking Dead.
There's a whole bunch of really great...
that looks really good too.
Oh, it's amazing.
There's a whole bunch of really great shows on iTunes that you can download and listen to. Comment, rate us. There's also a really cool app where you can download it onto your smartphone and arrange your podcast that you listen to and just kind of pick and choose as you go. I know that I like to buzz while I'm on the 405. Where do you like to buzz? So go to iTunes, download us.
I like to buzz in my bed.
Naughty!
Wow, okay, Bing. So,
speaking of naughty, Shoshanna.
And the show.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like what? So her and Ray obviously had issues earlier in the episode because she, ladies, answer this question. Why is it that a lot of times women will invite their man to something and the man knows that he doesn't want to go or can't go in front of him? I don't understand why.
Before it even got to that point, I think as they're walking, they're in this new beginning love stage. He's her first, so she's very engulfed in the relationship to the point where, and this happens to all of us, we get lost.
Oh yeah.
And we disappear from our friends, and everyone's like, "Where have you been?" And the minute that her friend Radhika sees her, she's like, "Oh, now I know where you've been."
Right.
She has that realization, like, "Oh my God, I got lost in my relationship and totally put my social life on hold."
But then she totally put Ray on hold for her needs. Like that's what my question was. Like, why is it a lot of times like females would do that and be like, "Oh, we're going." You're like, okay, I didn't know. You know what
So
I'm
you're saying,
saying?
why do you have to overcompensate the other way? It feels like.
Well, it was automatically assumed that he would be welcome to come. Like when you're dating someone, you want them to feel welcome wherever you go. So if you're going to a party, you're going to invite your man. Now, he didn't necessarily feel comfortable going, but there's a lot of things that you don't want to do that you should do for your partner because they want you to. It's called compromising. And so because they come from two different huge age gaps, he just, he just felt really like out of place and uncomfortable. And so she shouldn't force him, but look what happens when you don't go, fellas.
Oh, he should have gone because. So that's just my point, because I just felt like she could have addressed it. Maybe because she's younger, she could have addressed it differently and said, I would like to go. Let me talk to Ray about it and see if we both can go. Boom. Because I think Ray kind of felt put on the spot. I mean, that's kind of how I see it as a guy.
I think that he was using his common sense as a 33-year-old to not go to a college party. But the fact of the matter is, and like you said, it's compromise. And because he didn't go with her, she wound up sitting at that party talking to Radhika the whole time.
Talking at Radhika.
Radhika almost blew up.
Did you see how, Radhika was like not having it. She kept pouring her champagne, like, here, just drink and shut up.
Well, didn't she yell at someone for messing up her fountain?
Her ashtray.
Mermaid fountain.
I felt like that was her way to get out of it.
plan.
She was just like, I gotta find something because her head was about to pop.
Absolutely, and that, that's where Shoshanna felt out of place, and she's like, you know what, I gotta go. And then there's the hot interaction.
Feel out of place? Bang the doorman.
But when she walked
Totally
in,
how it goes every time.
Bedroom eyes. When she walked in, the doorman gave her the bedroom eye. Like you could
and the
see
bedroom eyes this week.
I have another term for it, but I can't say it on air. But yeah.
I love her honesty. Like, don't take this like offensively, but you're really hot for a doorman. That was so cute because I was thinking the same thing. Like, really, you're a doorman. But in New York, everybody's fine, so I believe it.
In this instant, this was Shoshanna's first time. I mean, and we've seen this before with Hannah, where she made out with a guy that she didn't know his name. He knew her name, but she didn't know his name.
That's a very good point. So when she walked in, he was checking her out. Like, he leaned over the desk and like almost like cricked his neck. And then, when she was leaving, it looked like he was looking for her upstairs. And it's very interesting, as guys a lot of times will do that. Like when we see a female or a male that we like, we'll try to find something in common with them. And he's like, oh, the party wasn't good enough. And she's like, yeah, I'm not much of a partier. He's like, I'm not either. And then he goes on the other line, like, have I seen you out? Do you go to clubs? And then, but he's not a partier.
Right, but he's a clubber.
And then Shoshanna's like, yeah, I go to clubs. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I've seen you look really familiar. And then, that's when she says, I don't know your name.
They neither of them party, but they both club.
But we'll look for an end. Like, we're trying to find that common ground, and there was that sexual chemistry and the bedroom eyes at the very beginning. Boom, and then
they're
in the broom closet.
There's also a moment. I'm just realizing this too, that both stories, Adam's and Shoshanna's, where the person hung around a second longer than they probably should have rationally. Adam, when he was at the AA, when that crazy woman is talking to him, he should have kind of probably like, screw you, I'm going to go. And Shoshanna, like, that weird doorman talks to you, no matter how fine he is, and someone was like, doorman at a building I don't know, I should probably go. And both of them end up in great situations.
Right.
And it's interesting that was a theme that they went with. I'm not sure if they were going for that, but it's like, actually go with it. You never know what could happen.
And I like that. Go with it. Yeah,
I wonder
you
if
never know.
They learned that from Hannah, taking trash out. Like, maybe Hannah shared that tip. You'll get laid doing this. I don't know.
But I think what made both situations very adorable is the blatant honesty with one another. Both complimented each other, and you find oftentimes when you're dating or you're meeting someone new that you don't want to come off too aggressive or be too like sprung. You don't want to you don't play your best hand or show your cards or whatever it's called, because you don't want them to know, like, I find you really attractive, and you don't want to show the thirst. But I like the fact that they both were honest with each other. He said, you're really beautiful, and she was like, she didn't even know how to accept the compliment. But maybe Ray doesn't tell her that she's attractive. And when a man does something that your man doesn't do, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
I think that goes with anyone, like especially when you're in relationships, which is, in my opinion, why marriage relationships a lot of times they can fail because people get too comfortable and they forget that every day you have to work at it. You have to make that person feel special. And the longer you're with someone, the more difficult it gets because you have to keep it fresh. Not like every second, but you got to remind the person why you care about them in little ways and little things, or they'll wind up with the doorman, that very sexy doorman, by the way. And then it was really funny because she, of course, Shoshanna style, having sex, she's like, so what happened if someone answers, or if someone tries to walk in the building and you're not there? Well, it's fine. They'll just find their way around. One time a transvestite walked around and I just let him walk around. But I was just like, that was such a random, only Shoshana sexual moment.
Yes, it's a very Shosh thing to do where she has to overanalyze and break down things to try to make them make sense. And she was trying to rationalize, like, okay, we're here making out. What if someone walks in, kind of a thing? And screw it, just enjoy the moment.
I can't believe she was cheating on Ray. That just doesn't seem a part of her character. It doesn't seem like it's in her, handbook to do.
But this is the thing. Shoshana has yet to experience life. I'm sorry. If you are, God bless those of you who have been in relationships and married your high school sweetheart and you're successfully still together.
Weirdos.
It doesn't always happen that way,
We still want 5 stars.
Right. Everybody who's with their high school sweethearts is like not.
I mean, if you come back together after like having some people in between, then that makes some sense.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is Ray is her first everything.
Right.
And she needs to experience things. And the thing that's not keeping that, I think, made that moment happen is Ray is not that shiny to her. Now, the interactions that we've seen with Ray, he's not driven. She is. He's, he barely makes any money. She needs someone that wants to pay for things. She's paying for apartment.
Right.
He's homeless. Like,
he's not even good arm candy because he's not going with her anywhere now.
Exactly.
The doorman did have a nice suit. I'm just joking. He had a nice suit.
No, he was low key dreamy.
So nice and
He was awesome.
Well, yeah, and
nice.
you hit the nail on the head. She is just figuring out who she is, especially when you're in your early 20s. Especially her, she is literally a late bloomer. I mean, she bloomed late with Ray. I mean, let's just be frank about it.
Yeah.
And she's figuring out what she wants, what she likes. She's probably figuring out what her type of man is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she still doesn't even know what she likes.
No, and I mean, we all knew that eventually this was going to happen, where she's going to have to move on. I just didn't expect it to happen this quickly.
Or she might not move on. She may come home and try to fake the funk and pretend like nothing happened. But I think it's going to be really tricky for Shoshanna.
With her, it
to do
is
that.
going to break down really quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ray's going to
doesn't
pick
have
up
that
on
in
it. Ray's going to pick up
Yeah.
on it. Ray will smell or something. I can guarantee you. Ray's
She's
gonna,
so
like,
compulsive that she's going to just blurt it out at that one bad
Okay, I had
moment.
sex.
I mean, we don't know that she had sex, but she definitely was getting a little over the shirt action.
Oh, yeah, he was feeling on those tits.
spicy moment.
He was,
on them
he was definitely honking.
Speaking of things that grab, I mean, poor Hannah.
She opened up with OCD, and it was. I thought that was.
I thought she was trying to do something for her novel or
That's
something, like
what I
trying to
thought.
fake it, and then
Yeah.
later on, it's just like, wait, this is a thing?
Did you see what triggered it, though?
It
What
was
was
the
the
phone. It was a phone call from Adam. Well, that's what
okay.
triggered it in this episode. But Adam had called. That's when we at the very beginning we talked about Adam reaching out, and she ignored it. She looked at the phone and she kind of counted in her head. You could tell she looked, and then she put it down, and then she stopped walking back and forth several times. Remember?
Well, she was
Yeah.
doing the look over the shoulder
Yeah,
thing.
she kept doing that. What was that about?
That was her, the
Counting
counting
her
to
head,
8.
yeah. And I think probably this is one of those things too where she was probably already on the precipice, and then it's like, oh, right then, that's the moment that sets you over the edge, and it's like, and now we have a problem.
Yeah, I
Because
mean-
I think in previous episodes in the seasons past, like she's always had issues, but it's almost always been okay, one thing at a time. Don't have a job, or Adam's problem. This time it's like I have the book, I have weird stuff with my friends, I have Adam, and it's too much.
Is OCD a chemical? Is it a chemical imbalance? What exactly is that?
I don't know if it's a chemical imbalance.
She said it was hereditary.
Yeah, I've heard it's hereditary, but I mean, as a kid, I actually had it. And I think it's brought on through stress. And I have a family member that has it too, and that would make sense if it's genetic. But I would say it's brought on by stress. Like my family member is going to college, and that sets it off for her really bad. Like she never had it in high school or anything, and I think now that she's getting her master's, it's like really bad.
Yeah.
Like she has to
Yeah.
drive like several blocks around, but it's all the stress of working, getting her master's, which is like what Hannah's going through. So when what she had mentioned, when Adam called her, that just like all these emotions rushed. I think it goes back that she can't control anything in her life right now, and the one thing is your OCD, and it's like this little thing's telling her do this, and so she reacts to it.
Oh yeah, and the anxiety is starting to come up because of all of the pressures, and we see that happen as she progresses through this episode with the little things that she does, from opening up the door 8 times to counting out 8 potato chips,
and then cramming them in at once.
Times.
Yeah, and like she can't pick them up. She has to do. It's very erratic behavior.
Compromise, erratic, marital advice. You are.
But even her parents like picked up on it. Like
Absolutely, because she was doing the tapping thing on her shoulder, and we find out in this episode that this is not the first time, which is why the episode is called "It's Back."
But that made it more interesting that it wasn't something that just appeared out of nowhere that she suffered with it as a child, because we didn't know that. So that was new information revealed.
When it shows her parents really care about her, like they picked up on the smallest thing, which a lot of parents, they may care, but they may not pick up on that. And I feel like also her mom is such a hard ass on her, or in some ways, that it also aggravates it, because it makes Hannah more angry, because she also got upset, had to walk away, and it triggered it when she saw her mom enjoying the show.
Well, the thing is I think that with them, because she's had it her senior year of high school, which that's a lot of pressure going from high school to college, they've seen the behaviors before, so it was easy to pick up. Once someone points something out to you, it's easy to say, "Oh my God, yeah, okay, I see that they have that mole on their face."
Or are you drinking again? Like you can tell when it comes back
when it happens. And so for her mom to get really upset about it, like we're still together, she's like, "It's not our fault. It is not our fault."
Her mom gets upset with her a lot more easily too. Like I think between her parents, like her father tries to understand, but he gets frustrated a little bit. Like at one point, like the anorexia comment, like he says things he doesn't mean, or he says stuff where it's just like he doesn't know he's being kind of a dick. And then her mom, she just immediately jumps like, "Oh, we're trying to help you. This has affected us, all right?" Like she can't take Hannah's crap anymore, which you assume that this has been going on for long enough.
Yeah. Well, how funny was it? So Hannah gets up.
Aggravate you?
Well, yeah, it would definitely aggravate me. But Hannah walks up. She gets out. The singer, like
Judy Collins calls her
like, "Why are you leaving?" I don't know, right before she taps this guy, and then she realized, "Oh, I got to hit him 8 times total." So she keeps re-tapping him.
You hit me 5
It's like
times.
so awkward. It's like this, and then he's like, "You just hit me," and she's like, "No, I hit you 8 times." I felt so bad for her.
She started having an anxiety attack. Here is the lyrics of the song, and I don't know if you picked up on it. It was kind of a realization of what's going on in her life. So she had to, like, the walls were closing in. She had to leave. And so we find her in the bathroom, and she's saying to herself, "You were fine, you were good, you were fine, or you were good." Now, I can relate to that. I get chronic anxiety. When things get overwhelming, you start to just, like, you have to talk yourself off the ledge. And she was on that ledge and about to fall over. And so for her to start going through that, sure, her parents are worried, which is why we find them in the therapist's office. And that's when her dad's awkward and the anorexia comment comes out, and "I've seen you in a bikini, so you're not anorexic." It's like they're trying to make light of the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a really serious thing. And they feel like they have to take care of her because, it's their daughter. But at the same time, she's like, "I'm fine." She's trying to convince herself that she's fine, and she's not. And we see that when she's discussing that with the therapist, she's like, "Can you just tell my parents that I'm okay?" He's like, "Are you?
Right.
Are you okay?"
And by the way, best guest cameo I've seen on the show to date, Bob Balaban as the therapist. That made me so happy, and he was wonderful.
I love him. He's great. And, it's funny because in their interaction where he's trying to find out what her stresses are, which that's where we find out that she's had this before when she was in high school. And, she has the pressure of her book, and she's going through a breakup. And, he's like, "I wrote a book." And they start talking about his book. And she's wondering if it's about therapy. And she's like, "No, it's about..."
Nobody's really listening to her exactly. I mean, her dad, like, he's listening, but then sometimes he'll tune out. He'll make the anorexia comment, or just like, he'll go and it's like, "Oh, this is a nice show." Or her mom is just like, "I can't deal with this." Bob Balaban's going on about his book. Her friends are in their own crap. I mean, Marnie, in her story, like, she can't even listen to anyone about her problems. So, I mean, Hannah, she's kind of in this weird nebulous place where, like, she can never get out what she wants. That's why she had her freak out a couple episodes. And it's like, she's at this point where the freak out isn't enough, and it's starting to physically manifest.
It's definitely physically manifesting herself, and so she winds up leaving the doctor's office with her parents on the subway with meds in her hand, which she doesn't want to be on because they make her sleepy and groggy and foggy, and she has this book to complete, and that's another added pressure. Like, oh my God, if I'm going to be drugged up, can I finish my book?
And I actually, just the last thing about this, like, I rarely feel bad for Hannah. I'm like, get over it, move on. But I really felt bad when she was describing, like, the crazy masturbation thing she would go through, the toothbrush
She did
64
a great
times.
job. She did a great. That was a great scene.
As a human being, you just want to hug that person to be like, it's okay, like, but you don't know how to help them, and it feels
Hug her
so
8 times.
Yeah, and like I you know, as a kid, I suffered through that, but the way I fought it was I was just like, I'm not gonna do this anymore, and
You jacked off 8 times.
No, not that. No, I didn't do that.
I'm just playing.
No, I had like to, I don't know, to like touch a door or something like that. But like I made a decision like I'm not gonna keep doing this, and I just felt so bad for her. Like as an adult, like you are suffering through something like this, and it's a lot more common. Like the guy from Double Dare, Mark Summers, he suffers from it.
You know, the thing with Hannah is, and it's exactly what you said. You want to go and you want to hug her. She doesn't have that. Her dad wants to hug her, but her mother's not letting that happen. It's almost like a Tori Spelling, Candy Spelling thing. Like my daughters took away the attention of my man type situation, that kind of jealous triangle of a mother, daughter, father
Weird
situation.
competition.
Yeah. And so she needs a hug, and her mother's like, I mean, in the last episode, she's getting rid of her stuff. And she's like, we're not, she starts yelling at her when she's trying to be open and like I appreciate you.
She immediately assumes Hannah wants something.
Exactly.
It can't be Hannah just being good.
Exactly. And so Hannah's not getting the hug, which is where the anxiety I think comes from. Sometimes you just need somebody to take you and hug you and say everything is going to be okay. So
Everything's gonna be okay.
With that being said,
girl.
let's get to some predictions.
That's an adorable way to end this.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
All right, Andrew, our darling guest, what do you think's going to happen?
The only one that I've got, I think, is Hannah. I think that something's going to happen with the meds in the book. I mean, either she'll take them and she will just like get through the book, but I'm thinking that there's going to be some big brash decision she's going to make before she hits the point where she's going to do it. Maybe she sleeps with Adam, maybe she sleeps with another random guy, maybe something worse. But I feel like there's something that hasn't happened yet that will make her finally either make the book or abandon that idea.
Okay, Marty.
On to you, Marty.
Natalie, is that her name? Natalia or
Natalia.
Natalia. Okay, because it's way sexier. I think that, of course they're gonna hook up, but I think that Hannah's gonna lose her mind when she finds out that Adam is no longer an option. Like most women, and like Marnie with Charlie, when you're no longer an option, now you're desirable. And I think that's what's gonna set it off and let her know that she really does want him. And she might not really want him, but she's definitely gonna want him after she finds out that he's moved on.
Yeah, I actually really agree with that. I think there's going to be some drama between Natalia, Adam, and Hannah. Like, I feel like he's going to progress really well with her. She's going to try to sway him back. I don't know if he's going to take the bait, but I can really see that happening because Hannah's a very selfish character. I do feel for her in this episode, though. And then I think there's going to be some interesting Charlie and Marnie interaction. I think I could see Marnie, I can't talk. I could see Marnie totally singing at a piano bar on the next episode.
I can see that too.
And then Charlie maybe walking in on the lunch thing with the company or something, but they're not done yet.
No, I think that when it comes to Marnie and Charlie, just like Charlie needed the kick in the ass to move forward and to start doing things, this is her kick in the ass to get it together and start doing what it is that she wants to do. And so I think we are going to see Marnie start pursuing her dream of being an artsy singer or what have you in some club or something, or being the next Britney Spears, who knows. I think that with Adam, I'm glad that he's moving on. And yes, Hannah is going to be very upset and she's going to want him back.
I hope he gets to be happy.
But you know what?
Do.
I think he's going to be very happy with Natalia because they're more like-minded and they connect
he's still
better.
going to choose Hannah.
You think so?
When push comes to shove,
Oh, goodness.
I hope not.
Crazy goes to crazy, I guess.
You can't compete with love. You can't compete with somebody who you already have an investment with and who you have a
effed up
past with.
relationship.
Yeah, it may have been crazy, but they were crazy in love. And so, this is the new girl. He hasn't built as much memories with her. Yeah, he's going to start dating her, but at the end of the day, I think Hannah has his heart.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say with Shoshanna and Ray, I think that Shoshanna's going to start to move on. He doesn't have anything to offer her.
yeah.
And she's going to see that there are many boys that can kiss and put out, and it's going to be very delicious across the board. And she shouldn't be settling yet. She's still in college. Like, girl, do not settle. So that's my prediction. I see her getting her freak on for a while.
All sorts of doormen all over New York City.
She's gonna be they're going to bring in a lot of doorbells. Or she could. What would be really funny, though, is if she, is still with Ray and then keeps sitting up with this doorman. Living that
cool.
double
I like
life. I
that.
could see her totally becoming like a little rabbit about
little
it.
Player.
I don't think she's going to do the double life. I think she's going to blurt it out, and then it's just going to be like, move on. She's that kind of person. So, yay.
Hooray.
All right, Andrew, where can we find you?
You can find me at Andrew Gutin on Twitter. That's at AndrewGutin.
And you can play with my Twitter at spicy_Mari.
Play well.
You can hit it and quit it at Thomas Guide, TOMASGUIDE.
You can follow us at AfterBuzz TV, and you can follow myself, Miriam Gonzalez, on Twitter. Until next Sunday.
Yep.
See you then.
Hey, 5 stars.
Bye. 5 stars on iTunes.
Hi,
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.